right, the first story has a funny name, but gotta promise not to laugh at the name of the story. You sure you guys can hear the name of the story without laughing?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see. The story is called Schnitzel, Schnotzle, and Schnootzle.
Not funny at all.
Oh, well, then no problem. All right. A long time ago in Switzerland, there lived 3 boys and their papa. They lived at the foot of one of the great big mountains of Switzerland, the Alps, and they were very poor. They didn't have much money. But even though they didn't have much money for food, Papa always made the same joke. Whatever they were about to eat, he would call it Schnitzel, Schnotzle, and Schnootzle. And now, of course, the boys knew there really wasn't any such food as Schnitzel, Schnotzel, and Schnootzle, but it made them laugh. It made the food taste a little better. When they were about to eat their porridge in the morning, Papa would say, "Ooh, this smells good. What is this?" And the boys would say, "It's porridge, Papa." And Papa would say, "No, no, no. It is Schnitzel, Schnotzel, and Schnootzle." Now, I think that those words are so fun to say that you should say them with me. So the first one goes Schnitzel, Schnotzel, and Schnootzle. Let's do that all together. Schnitzel, Schnotzel, and Schnootzle. So when it was time for them to eat their rye crisps and cheese for lunch, Papa would say, "Ooh, what have we here for lunch?" "It is, it's rye crisps and cheese, Papa." "No, no, no. It is Schnitzel, Schnotzel, and Schnootzle." And the boys would giggle. And when it was time for dinner, when it was time to eat their lentil stew for dinner, Papa would say, "What do we have for dinner now?" And the boys would say, they knew what to say by then, they'd say, "We know what it is, Papa. It's Schnitzel, Schnotzel, and Schnootzle." And Papa would say, "Very, very good." Well, Christmas Eve came, and it was especially cold and frosty Christmas with the snow whirling around. Papa said to the boys, oh boys, if only the Goblin King would come and give us Christmas presents." And the boys said, "Goblin King?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, I didn't ever tell you. We live right at the foot of the Brenner Alp. And in the caves under that mountain, it is said that Goblin King Lauren has his special cabins and special houses, special tunnels. The Goblin King, it is said he is good. They tell the tale that he had a little girl goblin, and she wanted flowers. And so he built a great big cave, and he cut a hole in the roof so the sun would shine in, and he covered it with crystal. And they say that the sun shone in and grew beautiful roses, and that is why the mountains turn red in the sunset." The boy said, "Oh, that's nice. But what does the Goblin King have to do with Christmas?" "Well," said Papa, "it is said that every year the king of the goblins picks one family to give Christmas presents to, but they say that he is very mischievous and he plays tricks on them first." "Oh," said the boys, "I don't know if I want that." "Well," said Papa, "it is just a story. And now, my friends, my boys, I must leave you for a while and go down to the village and try and find work so that I can buy food. While I am gone, you must promise not to open the door for anyone. Do you promise?" Fritzl, who was the oldest boy, said, "Yeah, Papa, I promise." Franzl, who was the middle boy, said, "Oh, indeed, Papa, I promise too." And Hansel, who was the baby, said, So Papa, he got ready to go down to town. He pulled on his heavy woolen winter trousers and his thick wool socks, one after the other. and his heavy winter boots. He put on his heavy winter jacket, arm, button, 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 button. He wrapped a scarf around his neck 3 times, and he pulled his heavy winter cap over his ears and his heavy winter mittens on his hands. He was so bundled up he looked like a fat teddy bear. And he said, "I go, boys, but while I am gone, remember, do not open the door for anybody." "We won't, Papa, we won't," said Fritzl, the eldest. "Indeed, Papa, we won't," said Franzl, the middle boy. And Hansel, the youngest, said, So Papa went out, and he closed the door behind him. And at first, all the boys could hear was the wind howling around the house. Fritzl said, "Let us all get into bed. It is so cold and we have no fire." So they got into bed, all 3 of them next to each other, and they pulled the blankets up around their shoulders.
And baby was covered up with the blanket.
Oh, no, he sat there. And just then they heard this sound. Fritzl said, "We mustn't open it." Papa said not to. Franzl said, "But maybe we should open it." Hansel, the baby, said, "Okay, The knock came again. Fritzl, the eldest, said, "I think maybe we should see who's out there." Franzl, the middle boy, said, No, we mustn't. Papa said we mustn't." Hansel, the baby, said, "Blah!" And he went and opened the door. He toddled over. No, they said. And outside the door was a little man with a tall, pointy red cap, and a long, pointy white beard, and a sharp, pointy red nose. The little man sprang into the house and said, "Well, you kept me waiting long enough, so now you must let me have the bed, for I am cold." And he went over to the bed, and he snapped his fingers, and all 3 boys went boing and bounced out of the bed and onto the floor. And the little man got in and pulled up the blankets around his neck. Fritzl said, "That is not nice, sir." Franzl said, "That is very rude, sir." Hansel, the baby, said, blah, blah, blah. And the little man said, "Well, if you are cold, I think you should dance." "Dance?" The oldest boy said, "I will not dance. I do not know how." He shouted. He was dancing around the room. And as he danced, he felt things in his pockets. And when he finished his dance, he turned a somersault, and things fell out of his pockets. And the things that fell out of his pockets were oranges. Bright, golden Christmas oranges. He looked at the little man. He said, "Why, thank you, sir, thank you." But the little man just looked mischievous and said, "I don't know why you're thanking me. They came out of your pockets. Now, middle boy, I think you should turn cartwheels around the room to keep warm." "Oh, but I do not know how to turn cartwheels." And he found he was turning cartwheels. Some of you probably do cartwheels in gymnastics. That's where you go sideways onto your hands and then sideways onto your feet again, and you roll round and around like the wheel of a wagon cart. But while Franzl was going around and around the room turning cartwheels, every time he was upside down, things fell out of his pockets that went thumpity, 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 thump, thump, thump. And when he finished turning, do you know what he found on the floor?
What?
Christmas cakes and cookies and candies with little gold and silver little tinsel wrappers. And the cookies were frosted snowmen, and the cakes were delicious fruit cakes. He said, Danke, danke, mein Herr, which is German for thank you, sir. Don't thank me. They came out of your pockets. Now, youngest boy, I think that you should fly around the room. The baby found he was lifting up off the ground. He flew around the room, around and around and around. And as he was flying, he tumbled over and over, and things fell out of his pockets that went clink, clink, clinkety, clink, clink, clink. And when he landed, do you know what they found on the floor?
What?
Golden coins. Enough gold to buy food for a whole year. Then the little man said, well, it is time for me to say Auf Wiedersehen, which is goodbye in German. And so he waved his fingers, and little purple sparks flew out, and the little man rose into the air, up to the ceiling. And just before he crashed his head on the ceiling opened up like a Christmas present box, and he flew out. The ceiling came down again, clunk, and everything was like it was before. The boys said, did that really happen? But there were the oranges. There were the Christmas cakes and cookies and candies. There were the golden coins. And just then Papa came in the door and said, Ach, du lieber mein Kind, this is so bad. I could not find any work. I do not have any food for us. It will be such a hungry Christmas. What are these? The boys told him all about the little man and the tricks he had played. And Papa said, so it is true. The king of the goblins came, and he played tricks on all of you, but he gave presents while he played his tricks. Well then, we shall have a feast. Now, what shall we eat first? The cakes and cookies, said Fritzl. The candy, said Hansel. Eins, said Hansel. And Papa said, no, 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 no. What we shall eat first is Schnitzel, Schnotzle, and Schnootzle. The end. Thank you.